Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse.
Hey there, lunatics. An evil wizard turned me into a caveling. Ah! It also banished me from my main world, but I'll be back to my main world soon enough, and I'll be back to my normal self soon enough. Until then, let's take a look at some melee build progression, starting from the early game and going all the way to the end game. I hope you enjoy. Your initial set of armor. Full copper set, a small lantern, which you can craft at the copper workbench, a wooden shield, which you can craft at the copper anvil, a copper cross necklace, which is craftable at the jewelry workbench, but also can be found in the world or fished up, the ring of rock, and the small backpack, which again is craftable. If you find a pet, great, use it. If you have any other rings, like 2 rings of rock, that's even better. The next boss on the list is Gorm the Devourer. For this build, we have a Caveling Hood, which you can find off of various Caveling mods in the Forgotten Ruins. The Bronze Breastplate, which you can craft at the Tin Anvil. We have got the Iron Pants, which you can craft at the Iron Anvil. The Lantern, which can be found throughout the Clay Caverns. The Grub Egg Necklace, which can also be found throughout the Clay Caverns. The Swift Feather, which can be found in locked copper chests. The Larva Ring, which can also be found in locked copper chests as well as throughout the Clay Caverns. The Swift Ring, which can be crafted at the Jewelry Workbench. And the Explorer Backpack, which can be crafted at the Tin Workbench. I also have an Ember Tail, which can be purchased off of the mining NPC that you rescue when you defeat Glurch. The 2-set bonus from the Grub Egg Necklace and the Larva Ring make me immune to being slowed by slime. This is extremely important for being able to hunt down Gorm. My weapon of choice is the Slime Sword to also help reduce Gorm's movement speed to make it easier for me to catch him and to get him to actually engage. I also have made some mouse bombs that I can shoot at him to try to enrage him because those can be shot at a good distance. The next boss on our list is Malagaz, and for him we have got the Iron Helm, which we can craft at the Iron Anvil. I've got the Wild Warden Pauldrons, which can be found in wood. If you don't want to use the Wild Warden Pauldrons, you can use the Iron Breastplate, which is also craftable at the Iron Anvil. Continuing to use the Iron Pants, continuing to use the Lantern, and we are continuing to use the Grub Egg Necklace. Now I have replaced the Swift Feather with the Iron Shield, also craftable at the Iron Anvil. And now we have a Wild Warden Ring for one of our ring slots, and if you're able to get 2 of these, I highly recommend getting 2 of them. They can be found in locked iron chests. Assuming that you cannot find 2 Wild Warden rings, I also have a Clot Ring here, which can be found throughout the Clay Caverns. My bag is Gorm's Stomach Backpack, which drops off of Gorm, and I'm continuing to use my Ember Tail. For my weapon of choice, I have the Pipe Club, which you get off of the Abiotic Factor scene found in the Forgotten Ruins. If you'd like something a little bit faster, I also recommend the Battle Axe, which can be found in locked iron chests. I have increased my skills a little bit for this fight, as I've now gotten everything into the 30s or 40s that matters. If you want to take on the Hive Mother as well as King Slime, which are 2 optional bosses available at this point in the game, I recommend using the exact same set that we used for Malagaz. It will work equally as well on both of those bosses also. Next on our list is the Titan Azios, and I have gone ahead and kept my Pipe Club, however I've leveled it up from level 8 to level 10. Also collected the Mercenary set, which is the Mercenary Headband, Tank Top, and Pants. Mercenary armor drops off of Flower Destructibles as well as the X digging spots in Azios' Wilderness. Using the Pumpkin Lantern, which you can get from the Saw-One goodie bag for the Halloween event, and I've leveled it up to 10. Continuing to use the Grub Egg Necklace, however I've leveled it up to 10. And I have gone back to using the Swift Feather and leveled it as well up to 10. At this point, I'm using 2 Wild Warden rings, which you can find off of locked iron chests. And I am using the Scarlet Shell backpack, which can be crafted at the Scarlet workbench. I'm also continuing to use the same Ember Tail that I've been using for all previous builds. My skills also remain unchanged from the Malagaz fight. They are pretty much still in the 30s and 40s. For the Ivy fight, we are using the exact same thing that we were using for Azios from the start. We've still got the Pipe Club leveled up. We've still got the Mercenary set, but we've changed the necklace and the rings. I'm now using a polished copper cross necklace, which is craftable if your crafting skill is at least at 85 at the jewelry workbench. I've also got 2 sky rings, which can drop off of Azios. Otherwise, everything else is left exactly the same. You're not going to be able to heal during this fight, so the goal is to avoid taking damage and to burn the boss down as quickly as possible. So next we have got the Sea Titan Omeroth, and for this build I have gone with a dodge-oriented build. So I have got sunglasses, which can be found throughout the Sunken Sea in various seashell chests. I've also got the Peasant chest, which has been leveled up to level 12 and is found in the dirt biome as well as the stone biome off of various cavelings. You can find it pretty early in the game. Additionally, we have got the caveling pants, which are found in the stone biome off of various cavelings. I've leveled this up to 12 as well. For my lantern, I am using the orb lantern, leveled up to 12. And then I have got the cave guppy necklace, which can be fished up in the dirt biome, also leveled up to 12. My offhand is the caveling ID, which can be found in various chests and scenes in the metropolis within the Sunken Sea. And I have got white glass rings, which I've also leveled up to 12, although I don't know if that's entirely necessary, as you only gain about 3 max health each time when you do this level up. You'll find the white glass rings in the metropolis scenes as well. I'm using the Octarine backpack, which can be crafted at the Octarine workbench. I'm continuing to use my Ember Tail, though at this point, if you wanted to switch to an Owlux or a different pet, that's also perfectly reasonable. And I'm continuing to use my Pipe Club. Now, while I didn't level mine up to 12, it's perfectly reasonable for you to level yours up to 12 if you'd like to do a little extra damage, take out the boss just a little bit quicker. Speaking of taking out the boss quicker, if you prefer to use a weapon like the Poisonous Sickle instead, that's also perfectly reasonable for that faster attack speed. On the skills front, I've made sure to get my skills up into the 50s and 60s for everything that I feel is relevant, and one thing that is important is that on the fishing tree, I've spent some time working on fishing so that I can get studied patterns to give myself an extra 10% dodge boost. There is also balanced stance in the running tree for an extra dodge chance, but you have to stand still, which is not something you're going to be doing a lot during the Omeroth fight, so I don't know how beneficial it would actually be for you. For the Morpha fight, there is literally no difference in the build, as the name of the game for Ivy is still Dodge. Ivy shoots off all these bubble attacks and jumps that are very, very easy to dodge with a high dodge rate. Though you're definitely going to want to keep some greater heals on hand, because those bubble blasts that Ivy shoots off go quick enough that if you are unlucky enough to get hit 2 or 3 times in a row by them, they can kill you. So you still want to move around a little bit during the fight. The Sand Titan Raw Car is next, and for this build I've gone with a poison critical build. So I'm actually using the pot lid, which you can find way back in the locked copper chests, leveled up to level 14. However, if you don't want to use the pot lid or you're struggling to find it, you can easily use the Galaxite helm, which you can craft at the Galaxite workbench. I've leveled up pretty much all of my gear here to level 14, and I am also using Ivy's Thorn Harness and Ivy's Pants, which drop off the slime boss Ivy. My weapon is also the Poisonous Sickle, which drops off of the slime boss Ivy, and this is what gives me the chance to apply my poison. You can also find the Poisonous Sickle in the Mold Dungeon off of the dead infected cicada. I'm using the Orb Lantern for extra mining damage, and the polished copper cross necklace, which you can get on the jewelry workbench. I'm using the concealed blade in my offhand for extra critical hit chance. You can get this off of Caveling Assassins in the Desert of Beginnings. I've got 2 polished golden spike rings, which are craftable at the jewelry workbench, and I am using the Octarine backpack still, which is craftable at the Octarine workbench. From a skills standpoint, there have been a few changes. I've tried to increase my skills to get them into the 60s and 70s, and I have maxed out my gardening skill so that I can benefit from potent poison for that extra damage against poison targets and gain that extra critical hit damage from thorny weapons. Before doing the igneous fight, I highly recommend spending some time in the Shimmering Frontier to get your hands on some solarite gear so that you can upgrade everything all the way up to level 15 with the solarite bars. However, if you haven't done that and all of your gear is at level 14 instead, that's also perfectly fine. What I've done with this build is I've gone ahead and gone with the ninja set because that can be fished up in the Shimmering Frontier waters. And so I highly recommend it. It is one of the best sets of armor in the game. I'm continuing to use the orb lantern as well as the polished copper cross necklace, and I'm still using the polished golden spike ring, and you can use that in both slots if you want, or you can put in the sky ring instead in either one or both slots. It really doesn't matter. Both of these rings are excellent. I'm using Morpha's bubble bag, which drops off of the slime boss Morpha, and I'm using Omeroth's beak, which drops off of the Titan Omeroth. Now, I used the battle axe for this fight, but you could also use the prehistoric crystal spear or the pipe club. Both are excellent weapons when fighting igneous. You do not want to use your Ember Tail, because Ember Tail will not do any damage as it is doing burn damage, and igneous is immune to burn. So instead, I've switched over to the Owl Lux at this point. You're also going to want to eat some food that gives you immunity to burning. You can fish up either the Elder Dragonfish or the Verdant Dragonfish in lava, and those fish will give you immunity to burning. I've combined the Elder Dragonfish here with some Golden Bloat-Oat to give me a boost to my critical hit chance as well as that immunity to burning. The Atlantean Worm is a challenging fight for melee. It really is a fight that you should do with magic or with ranged. However, if you are going to do this with melee, you should use a reach weapon. For example, I recommend the prehistoric crystal spear, or maybe even the tentacle whip. And you're going to want to use pretty much the same gear that you used during igneous, as it works extremely well during the fight. I also highly recommend that you bring a speeder, as a regular boat just isn't going to cut it, and plenty of greater heal potions because you're probably going to need it. Our next boss is Druidra, the Wilderness Titan, and for this I'm going to go ahead and use the Battle Axe, although if you want to use your Prehistoric Crystal Spear, Pipe Club, or whatever melee weapon you're using, that's perfectly reasonable. At this point I'm using the Atlantean Worm Helm from the Atlantean Worm, using the Ninja Leggings from the Shimmering Frontier Waters, Orb Lantern, Polished Copper Cross Necklace still, using the Omeroth's beak still from Omeroth, Morpha's bag still from Morpha, the polished golden spike rings from the jewelry workbench. Everything is leveled up to level 15. I'm also still using the Owl Lux at this point, but you could use any pet that you want. Really not that big of a deal which one you use on this boss. The next boss in the progression order is Krydra. And for this fight, I'm using almost the exact same build I've been using before. It's just at this point, I have leveled up all my gear to at least level 16. And I've gone ahead and I've swapped out a Druidra's Ring so that I have a chance to apply poison on hit. I'm still using the Battle Axe, although if you want to use the Pipe Club or the Prehistoric Crystal Spear, you really could. It doesn't matter what your melee weapon is too much, but I really love this Battle Axe. The Pyroja fight set is literally the exact same build that I was using for Krydra. The only difference is everything is leveled up to level 17. Now I also used the Battle Axe again, but the Pipe Club or the Prehistoric Crystal Spear will also work wonderful. I also highly recommend that just like with Igneous, you eat some food that will make you immune to burn damage, as a lot of the damage done by this boss is fire-based. For the core commander, I've decided to change things up just a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and use a level 18 pipe club. If you want to keep using your battle axe at level 18 or your prehistoric crystal spear, go ahead and do it. Also gone ahead and swapped out with a sky ring, just because I want to do the extra physical melee damage. Critical hit is great, but it's not as important. I also swapped out my necklace with a grub egg necklace to increase my, again, physical melee damage. If you want to keep your copper cross necklace and your golden spike ring, go right ahead. They work wonderful during this boss. But I just wanted to have something a little different instead of showing you the exact same build just leveled up 3 times in a row. So for the Urslime fight, I am doing a build that revolves around the Stormbringer. Now, this is a excellent weapon that has a very fast attack speed, and it gives me a movement speed boost for a short duration after I mine a wall. In addition, I also have a skill in the mining tree, Pick and Run, that gives me an additional boost for the same thing. This will come in handy as you need a very fast movement speed in order to keep up with the Urslime as it moves through its phases. The Cosmos Visor Helm, as well as the Cosmos Legwear, it can be found in the Shimmering Frontier. And I have got the Miner's Labor Suit, which can be found in the Molten Quarry. I'm also using the Ancient Gem Necklace and the Ancient Gem Ring, both of which can be randomly mined up, provided that you have the mining skill Archaeologist. Once you have those 2 items, you no longer need the Archaeologist skill, and you can reset your points and move them elsewhere. I am also using a Topaz Ring, which can be found in various chests, as well as drops off of bubble crabs in the Sunken Sea. Continue to use Morpha's Bubble Bag, and I'm using the Core Iris, which is an item that you can fish up in lava. All of this provides me with a huge boost to my mining, as well as with a pretty decent boost to my general damage. And considering that I have another mining skill where 10% of my mining damage is added as melee damage, this all synergizes very nicely. It's also important to use some buff food. In this case, I'm using golden bomb pepper with golden bloat oat to create this rare spicy oat cereal that gives me a 38.7% boost to my movement speed. If you can get the epic version, that's even better. Lastly, you'll notice that all my items are leveled up to 19 at this point. And finally, we have got the Nimruza fight, where all my gear is once again level 19, and this time I've gone back to that critical hit set that I was using earlier, with the Atlantean Worm Helm, the Ninja Gear, the Polished Copper Cross Necklace, Polished Golden Spike Ring, still using that Druidra Ring for some poison, and Omeros Beak for that extra melee damage. Also using the Owl Lux for just some extra damage as well as giving myself some of that triple trouble, which is really helpful in the Nimruza fight. I'm going to go ahead and use the Prehistoric Crystal Spear, because in this fight, attack speed does help a lot, and this has the fastest attack speed out of all of the melee weapons that I prefer to use. Although if you want to use the Battle Axe, or if you want to use the Pipe Club, both of these weapons work very, very well as well. Thanks so much for sitting through this video. I know it's kind of a different format than I normally do. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of it and if I should do more progression videos with this style. If you liked the video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hope you guys stay happy, stay healthy, and stay crazy, everyone.